welcome back to Teaching Practicum. This is Unit 7. Today I want to talk about lesson aims. In your reading for this unit, you're going to be doing a lot of reading about the lesson aims, and I want to just highlight a couple of things. Basically, when you're developing your lesson aims, you're going to be developing them within three domains, and those domains are, just as review, the first one is cognitive. And in the cognitive domain, we're focusing here on knowledge. And so for you writing your lesson plan, you're thinking about, in this lesson aim, about Bible knowledge. What are my students learning new, perhaps, or being reminded of from a knowledge standpoint? So these are the Bible stories, these are the memorization of Scripture, this would be the character studies and those types of things. And so when I'm talking about a lesson aim related to cognitive or related to our brain and thinking, I'm thinking specifically about what the students know. The second domain is affective, okay? And this relates to our feelings, our emotion. But when we're writing a lesson aim here, we're writing a lesson aim to think about, what do I want my students to be convicted about? What do I want my students to value from this lesson? So we're moving from just a knowledge gain, knowledge aimed, where I'm imparting information, and in this domain we're concerned about how our students will respond to this as a value or a conviction. So is there, through the teaching, some way that we want our students to respond towards a conviction or a value that they would now have as a result of our teaching? And then finally, the last domain is behavioral. And in this sense, we're moving from knowledge gain through conviction in the affective domain to a behavioral where we're looking for action or practice. So in this sense, we are looking to say, okay, what do I want my students to do now? What should be their response in obedience to God? And so it's not that I'm just understanding, it's not that I'm just valuing, but now I'm responding. So in each of these areas, as you're developing your lesson aims, you want to be kind of thinking through these. That perhaps at a minimum level, we would want knowledge gain. Maybe beyond that, we would want our students to value or have conviction because of the Scripture passage. But then the third is that behavioral, where we would ask them to respond in some way and put into practice what they're learning. All right, so that's a little overview of lesson aims. You'll be reading again, like I said, about that in the unit for this week. Don't forget that you also need to be uploading your second teaching video. So you're putting that video in Discussion Board 6, and that's due by March 12th, so make sure you get that in. Of course, you're also submitting the summary of the Bible teaching evaluations. So you've passed out those evaluations to your class that you're teaching to, and then you're writing up a little summary based on all those evaluations, and you're submitting that as well. Of course, all the unit reading for this week, make sure you get that completed. And then I think that's all I've got for you. So I'll see you next time. Thanks.